Today's coin being Flare. Now, Flare has quite a few features that we're going to go over, including the current Flare testnet, future launch dates, the snapshot date, the smart contracts, F assets, Spark token, state connector system, and validators. Now, what do we got here? Well, currently, the Flare network isn't live. It's currently running off its Coston test network. Now, it plans on going live later in 2021, but currently it's running off the Coston test network. Now, before it goes live, back in December 12th, 2020, there was a snapshot for what is the native token, that is the Spark token, that essentially allows you to make all native payments on the Flare network with that Spark token. Now, when they had the snapshot, essentially XRP holders and I believe also Litecoin holders at the time that were a part of the snapshot were essentially able to reclaim their Flare at the time, or reclaim their snapshot for their Flare at the time in exchange for it to be delivered when the network goes live. And currently the network isn't live, but when the network goes live, all of the people that were part of the snapshot will receive their Spark tokens. Now, with Spark tokens, you can actually execute smart contracts on the network, basically being its native payment token, and you actually have another set of tokens that are quite interesting, which are called F assets. Now, F assets are essentially other cryptocurrencies that can operate on the Flare platform, almost as if they're native to the Flare platform, but will allow you to be able to make them interoperable with other types of smart contracts. Now, what does this allow you to do? Well, what this allows you to do is it allows you to take a interledger framework approach to being able to connect smart contracts on one platform and being able to connect them with other assets on other platforms that may not necessarily be native, but you still wanted to get the functional utility of the smart contracts on Flare while being able to settle with that off settlement token. So you end up using F assets. Now let's go into the state connector system. State connector system is also quite interesting because the Flare network will constantly be monitoring a series of different states on a series of different networks that it may be operating with, and it can actually detect state changes they can detect state changes and triggers on networks that aren't native to its own. Well, what does that mean? Now, this helps you be able to bring that level of interoperability by being able to have smart contracts execute on one network by being able to see the events and state changes of another network. It's quite cool. Now, last little bit, we'll go into validators. Now, all blockchains have validators to some degree, but the Flare validators are actually quite interesting. So Flare is a direct fork off of the XRP ledger, meaning that a lot of the utilities that Flare has are also part of the XRP ledger, including validators. So what does that mean? Well, Flare has a native algorithm that helps keep it maintain consensus, and it also maintains its validators by hosting small portions of the ledger on each validator, and then using its consensus algorithm by scanning all the validators and being able to map all of that data together, sort of in a not quite haphazardly, but it's the algorithm that's really making it seem like it's a fluid, one systematic fluid system, or one fluid overall system, as opposed to a series of segmented system interoperating with each other. So the validators have that native consensus algorithm. Each validator has different segments of the ledger, and then that consensus algorithm basically is able to pair up all of that data together to be able to get that overall consensus and that overall utility of being able to read from that distributed ledger system. Now, since we've been able to go over all the features, I hope you've been able to learn quite a bit. I hope you're able to enjoy some of the topics we've been able to talk about, some of the features with Flare. Hope you're able to talk about it with your friends. And if you have any other if you have any other questions, or if you have any other sort of curiosities, I have a bunch of documentation in regards to the features we spoke about here down in the description below. You can go check those out. And I hope you guys are able to have a good rest of your day. Peace.